From 2006 to 2011, the number of common law couples in this country rose nearly 14%. That's more than 4 times the increase for married couples. But sharing a life and a home can be complicated. So this morning, family lawyer Nathalie Boutet is here to talk about the legalities of common law relationships. It's great to have you here.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's talk about what people should be aware of before they move in.
So what they should be aware of is that the laws are not always what they think they're going to be, and they have to think about it, and they have to cover themselves, and they have to have these difficult conversations. So my take on cohabitation agreements is they're a great tool for the foundation of an amazing working relationship, at least the way that I prefer to do them. Because what happens is people get together and they go and they hope for the best, and usually it doesn't turn out like that. Finances
play a crucial role there, and you say that that's a conversation that people should have before they get together.
Absolutely. You wouldn't go into getting home renovations done without a contract. You wouldn't buy a vehicle without a contract. So why would we treat our most important relationship differently?
Let's talk about that contract, the cohabitation agreement. What is it, Nathalie, and how does it work?
Right. So a cohabitation agreement is a legal document that serves as a guide for what happens if people separate. It contains, but it's also separate, and if someone dies during the relationship,
right.
You can plan.
So it covers both.
Plan, and it covers how we're going to divide our assets, and sometimes financial support, depending on the circumstances. We don't usually put information about children in cohabitation agreements.
Let's talk about the kids then, because that was my next question. Right. So you have the cohabitation agreement, and then what if there are children involved? It's not included in that. What happens with them?
So there are laws that guide the information on children, child support, and parenting of children, whether you're married or not married. The laws apply in the same way. So there's a guide there in the sense that people can understand what the law is. But if you're living common law, sometimes in some provinces, there is no law on division of property, like in Ontario. And so people have to talk about these difficult conversations.
Does length of time factor in here, Nathalie? You know, if someone's together, if they're together 5 years as opposed to 20 years, how does that work?
So there's a misconception there. In some provinces, 2 or 3 years. But in Ontario, for example, and other provinces, even if you've been together for 10 years, you don't become entitled to anything to do with the assets of the other person. So people have to understand the laws of the provinces and really do it the right way. If I can spend 1 minute to talk about the best way to do them is a 3-step process. 1, you put all the issues on the table, all your worries, all your fears, what your parents want you to do, everything that's there, put it on the table. Step number 2, find alignment, find common ground. That's where people struggle, is they don't want to have these conversations, so find your alignment. And step number 3 is the actual drafting of the legal agreement. And some people skip 1 and 2 and they go right to the drafting and they present it to their spouse and say, okay, you signed this. And that's not the alignment building that I'm talking about. You really have to put the issues on the table and find common ground.
You know what, and that's it right there, finding the common ground, I would think. And then going from there. Thank you so much, Nathalie. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up on Canada AM in 15